Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Brett McCollum, and I'm here today with Dan Rivers. Today, we're going to be talking about lessons he's learned in life. Pretty cool stuff we're getting ready to talk about. But before we do, at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and real estate entrepreneurs to 5X their businesses to allow them to build the businesses they've always wanted and live the lives they've always dreamed of. Without further ado, Dan, how are you?
Great, man. How you doing, Brett? Thanks for having me on.
Super good. I say this a lot. I'm like, I'm looking forward to the show. I am genuinely, we got to know each other a little bit before the show. Do you know, and I'm not trying to blow smoke up your skirt, but when I logged in, when I let you in from the lobby there, and Dan, guys, you didn't see this, but Dan has the biggest smile on his face. And I was like, this guy's going to be great, because sometimes you jump on here and you just don't know what to expect with people. And this is our first time, getting to meet each other. And so when I was like, instantly, man, I'm just like, this is, all right, cool. This is going to be good. So, man, appreciate you. But thanks for being here, man. Can you do me a favor? Can you rewind a bit for us? Back up. Tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are. Who's Dan Rivers?
Yeah, who's Dan Rivers? And by the way, that's Class Clown 1998. That's how old I am. But I mean, it's always smiling and joking around. But I am first and foremost, as we had mentioned earlier, like I'm a father and a husband, and that's how I define myself right now. I am a real estate investor, but I'm a dad and a husband. And I have a little baby boy due next month, so I'm excited. I'll be usually I say girl dad, but now I'm a dad. So I have them both.
There it is.
So I'm super excited, 44 years old and having a second kid. So it's going to be a journey, but I feel like I'm in a lot better headspace than I would have been if I was younger. But yeah, just to start off kind of my journey, I am from a little city about 20 miles south of Boston called Brockton, Massachusetts. My dad, hardworking. He worked in a mill, made like cards for like CVS and Walgreens. And my mom did some taxes, and she raised 3 kids. I have 2 sisters, older and younger. And just, blue collar family, grew up in kind of a city. And to be quite honest with you, and I'm happy to open up on this a little bit more too, but like I grew up in a city and I was kind of a punk. I've been in probably 30 fights in my life. I had a lot of anger growing up. I was a lost kid for a while. And we kind of touched upon that. And to really tell you why is when I was 16 years old, I had sprained my ankle playing football. Went in and they listened to my heart, and they realized, they were like, you need to replace your heart. You need to have heart surgery right away. Wow. So I went in fairly quickly, early part of my life, and had to have open heart surgery at 16 years old. So yeah, that definitely threw me for a loop. And I didn't realize it until probably my late 30s of how that really shaped the way I acted when I was younger. That's why I got so much, I hated the world. I had so much anger built up in front of me. I wasn't a bad person. I did a lot of good things. My dad always taught me hold the door and be a good person, but I also wasn't the best version of myself. I wasn't a great human being. I wasn't adding value to a lot of people's lives. I might have been sucking value out of some people's lives just by the way I acted, because I was so angry. And you know, a lot of
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
hate towards the world. I don't know if it was a why me, because I know I'm not a victim mentality type of person, but maybe I was when I was 16, a little bit more than I remember. But to kind of fast forward a little bit, my second heart surgery at 29 years old, that's when they replaced the valve. You can actually hear me tick. It's kind of cool. But I think I started to realize from 16 to 29 when I had my second heart surgery that I stopped using it as something that made me angry. And somewhere in the middle of those timeframes, I started using it as something that actually shaped me to be the person I am today, to not be afraid to go for it, not be afraid to, swing for the fences, not be afraid to take chances. It really brought to the light. Oh, and then also when I was 23 years old, I got in a bad motorcycle accident and no helmet, somehow survived. So like all those instances was like, all right, for some reason I'm meant to be here. I don't know who it is, what it is, but I'm meant to be here. So I got to start doing better for myself, better for the world, become a better person. And it's helped shape the person I am today, where I genuinely just try to make someone smile or be a better person, better version of myself every day, that I can hopefully pass that along to people. So it took me about 30 something years to become that person, but I'm happy for the second part of my life, this journey of being a better person and sharing that with the world and making it hopefully a little better, however I can.
Yeah. Let's rewind back, because there's a lot to kind of unpack there, huh? All right. So let's start here. First thing we're talking about, how old are your kid? How old's your daughter now?
She's 3.5. Yep.
Yeah, dude.
3.5, and then the baby boy next month.
Yeah, dude. There you go. We've wife and I, we've got 4.
Oh.
11, 8, 6, and 2.
Okay. So you got the broad range too. Yeah. That's
we got 2 boys, 2 girls.
Mm-hmm.
And
awesome.
Let me tell you, man, your daughter is to me, that's my favorite. I told my wife, this is so terrible to say. Moms out there listening, I'm sorry for what I'm about to say, but I just wish they could birth a 3-year-old.
Just skip the first couple of years, yeah.
Because that age now is my favorite. Like they're just, I don't know about your daughter, but like just they become sweeter and they're lovey and they're cuddly, and you're like, oh, this is it. This is it. And then now my oldest of the 2 daughters is 8. And I didn't know it started this early. Like some of the pre-teen tendencies, like she's just crying and I'm like, why are you crying? And she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, not yet. You're not supposed to do that yet. And I only grew up with brothers. So like, this is all like uncharted territory, and I'm like, what is happening? My son is the oldest. So I'm like, he and I, Syncopado, man, we know what we're doing. We got this. And then I was like, oh gosh. So, but no, at that age, man, like I loved that season. It's so good.
I got to tell you real quick on that. And I'm sorry, I've been wanting to express this. So this is the perfect platform to do it on. Last night, my daughter, she was going to bed, and I'm going to Denver for a short-term rental conference for the next couple of days. And I'm going out of town. So I'm telling her, and I'm laying with her to put her to sleep. And we just laid there like face to face. Her birthday's in November, by the way. Okay. She's sitting there going on, for my birthday, we're going to have carrot cake just in case, her new term. We're going to have strawberry shortcake. We're going to put balloons up. She's explaining her entire birthday party to me. That's 7 months from now, 6 months.
Yep.
But it was like, I literally kept on replaying that moment in my head all morning as like the most special moment. And I don't know, just for some reason, the connection was just so amazing last night. Yeah. And it was just such a good feeling.
We have those moments, man. And I think it's so untalked, especially as dads, right? We want to talk about, quote unquote, manly stuff, and, sports and this and that and da, da, da. And me too. I like them too. Like I'm wearing sports. Me too.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
But the moments that we look back on aren't going to be that. It's going to be these times. And every mentor, older person that I talk to, they say this, and that I find myself still feeling guilty sometimes of not even like taking as full advantage as I should be. Even though it is a priority, I still find myself going, man, I just wish I would have done that a little bit more. Like, or I'm tired from the end of a day and my son just wants to go out and, Dad, you want to go play? And I'm like, dude, I know I don't want to go play, but then I go immediately, I'm feeling like, no, I need to go do it, even if I don't want to. And then every time I do make the decision, sometimes I don't, and I'm guilty of that. But when I do it, every single time I do, I'm like, this was the right decision, But
yeah, you don't want to feel guilty. You don't want to feel guilty about going up. I'll say one more thing on it, and I knew you were gonna pivot, but I like this. No matter what room I'm in, I truly feel like, wholeheartedly feel one of the wealthiest people in the room, and I have nowhere near the amount of money of some of the rooms I'm in. Nowhere near. However, I have all the time in the world because I built a good team, and my entire focus is just having time to be able to spend with my family, my daughter, take her to school, pick her up, whatever the case is. No, I'm not saying all the time. There's sometimes work comes in the way, but
sure.
I am truly wealthy when it comes to time, and I've worked really hard to build that. And I probably put aside making more money because of it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's more than one currency. And we only, a lot of times in life, we always look at financial currency, but time is absolutely a currency. And in fact, I argue the most valuable currency because it's not something you can get more of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Warren Buffett's worth what? $1.34 billion, something like that. And I was listening to someone the other day. If you're 50 years old, around 50 years old, you have 1 billion seconds left to live on average. What kind of billionaire would you rather be? Would you rather be the billionaire in time or the billionaire in money at 94 years old? So it's pretty powerful.
Yeah. It's the rarest thing in the world. Yep. It is. So to me, I'm like, it's worth more. So we in real estate, I think you'll relate to this a little bit. And listen, I'm sure we'll pivot to something else, but stay in here for 2 seconds is you have ROI, return on investment, right? We're all familiar with that, but what about ROT?
Yep.
Return on time. If the things that we're doing in our REI careers aren't producing ROT, I'm not, by the way, Dan, I don't think you are either. I'm not here to sit there and judge people for what they do with or their time or not. Priority there. So I say this a lot on this show. I have a coach that taught me there's no such thing as time management. Like we just said, you can't control it, but you do have priority management, and this must have been 7 or 8 years ago. He said this to me, and it's just never been lost. And my priorities are my priorities there, right? It just depends on.
And they change, and that's fine. Like you said, people at different stages in life. No, I judge no one. The only thing I ask is are you truly happy? Are you doing things just to show someone else of what you look like? Or are you doing things because it truly makes you happy and it's bringing you joy? That's the one thing I usually, ask people if I'm going to be straight with them. But other than that, it's like whatever your happiness is, and there's different phases of your life. Right now, you have young kids. I have young kids. I'm in the phase of time is super valuable to me to make sure I have as many moments as I can. Because like you said, it goes by quick. Yeah.
From a parenting standpoint, right now, I'm not raising this is a weird, I don't know why we're going here, but I guess we're doing it. I'm not raising my kids to be as their friend. I'm their father. Okay. But I want to raise them in a way such that when they are grown, they want to be my friend.
That's powerful.
And I say that because I don't have that quote unquote friend relationship with my dad. He's my dad and I love him, but he's not my friend. He's my dad.
Yep.
And I what? I want to do everything I can Right now I'm their dad, and it's our jobs as fathers.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
To father our children, to teach them to do the things, to raise them the right way, to, you know what I mean, to instill the qualities that we, whatever the conviction is that for you and your wife to raise your children with. It's our job to do that. So right now I'm not your friend, but the aim is so that when you're grown, they will be my friend. We've raised good men and good women, and
Love it.
now that's the goal, man. Like that's the people are like, what's your why? Blah, 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 blah. It's so overstated. What's your why? And we should have purpose for our business and for what we do. And no doubt we should have that. But for me, it's outside of business, outside all that, like money's going to come and it's going to go. You can have it all. You can lose it all. That that's what you get. This is money has nothing to do with that, and so that's where I put my energy, man.
Yep. And it's setting yourself up for that. Actually, kind of a little bit of story. We'll spin off on that too, is it brings the business into the everything. But last year, real estate investing business, it's tough. You have 100 grand in your bank account, you have 2 cents in your bank account. You know how it goes up and down, everything that you're doing. And last year I just hit a rut of just, like a lot of people did. I have cash flow issues for quite a few months, and you're hitting payroll, and I'm about as stressed out as I've ever been in my life, to the point of just my head was not in the right space. And I'm all about, headspace is the most important. Real estate. And if I didn't have my wife, the most supportive person in my life, I would have probably gone down another bad path or whatever the case is. I just wouldn't be in the same spot. Like she would help get me through it. She would talk me through it. She would just her belief in me as a person just helped me get through some of the toughest times of my life business wise. And it's a game changer. And she owns her own business too. She's an entrepreneur as well, not in real estate and PR, and like I try to just reciprocate and do the same with her, because having a partner that is by your side, truly by your side, doesn't just talk, it doesn't just say that, like with actions, shows that they're by your side. It is the most powerful, like, secret sauce in the business.
Yeah. And I think this is all good because we're talking about lessons learned is what we were talking about. And these are all lessons learned, by the way, right? The things we're saying and, things we've gone through. Something, and by the way, guys, I know if you're listening to this and you're like, where's all the real estate coming into? We'll get there in a second, okay? But do you like, for me as a business owner, as a entrepreneur, and for you, like, people tell you can't mix your business and personal, that you can't mix. Yes, it's all connected. Mm-hmm. You cannot be the best business owner that you can be without, and to went into, I put all of my time on my business, and I have no time for my family. I read a book recently, super convicted of you see on TV, like affairs and things like that happen. It's like, how does that happen? This, that, and the other. And a lot of us like, we're good, man. We're not going to cheat on our spouse. But the book I read was, you didn't cheat on your spouse with another person, but you did with your business. Yep. And when I read that, I was like, ooh, geez, bro, that right there hit me, because there are times when I choose my business over my wife. Mm-hmm. And when I've done, and looking back at that, I'm like, I want nothing to be more important to me than her. And I definitely have been guilty of that over the years.
Yep. And that's where communication is so key, of like, if you need to choose your business in a moment, you're just really being clear with your spouse. Hey, this is where I'm at. I don't mean to, push you aside. I need to focus. Give me X amount of days, and then I'm back. My headspace will be better.
But it's communication. You hit the nail on the head.
100%.
I have not always been good about that. I've always just made the choice, and then you'll deal with it later because, you have to because you're my wife.
Yep.
Well, that's not respectful. That's the worst thing we can do. And lessons, I'm like, golly, that's not who I want to be.
Yep.
Anyway, I digress. But so let's go back to you, man. So you're like you said, you kind of had some let's call it just a rocky road, going through. Let's kind of fast forward a little bit because we're for sake of time here and catching us up. When you said you kind of started putting things back together, was it after the second surgery or was it before? When did you start, like, when did like that grow up moment, so to speak, happen?
I think it's still happening, but I guess back
Or
then,
no, yeah.
I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
fully grown up.
Yeah.
But definitely, I would say probably mid-20s before the second surgery.
Okay.
And we always talk about the other thing we talk about UI, but we always talk about how do you define success. Well, back
Sure.
then I defined success as I wanted to be VP of a company making $100,000 a year salary, and like I had all these, that's how I defined success. So by the time I was 29, I was VP of a company. I was making over $100,000 a year, and I was supposedly successful. But I had my second heart surgery. I'm getting married to my first wife, and success, it still wasn't there.
Mhm.
And so like I started to change and pivot and thought what I wanted, but it really started to change when I got divorced at 33
Okay.
from that wife. Was not a good husband, was not like we weren't meant to be married. We were meant to be friends back then. It
Right.
wasn't, but anyway, she's a great person and like just whatever. We parted ways. And it's probably around then that it really started to change. So I'm 33 years old, divorced, second heart surgery a few years past, and I'm just trying to figure out my life. And then that's when I met my now wife in 2014, 15, that area. And that's when my life was just starting to change. And then I met someone that literally, I've told her this, so I won't get in trouble. But like after my first divorce, I had like a whole checklist of what I need in a woman. And one of them's like drive and the values and all the stuff that I didn't have before. And once she passed all that checklist and I realized who she was, and then I realized I'm starting to be with someone that like believes in me and is like my true partner, that's when it really changed. I was like starting to bet on myself, I left a career, 10, 12 year career in property management, got into real estate investing. And like, I just started to really shift gears of betting on myself at that point, but it was kind of gradual. It was like early 20s. I had a different attitude. I'm going to make it no matter what that means. And I'm not giving up until I make it. And then I made it, and then that wasn't it. And then I had to pivot, adjust, figure out what it really was. And that's kind of what drove me where I'm at today.
Yeah, that's really good. And well, I'll put a pin on this with what you said and to move it in so we can transition into like your actual, what you're doing right now. It's a really, really awesome thing when a woman, your wife, whatever, believes in you as her husband and says, I believe in you. When that, for me, like I've been through last year was hard for us too. It's with so many people and like going through like what you said, yes. And when I will be doing something like this, we're talking and I get a text from my wife and I look over at it and just says, you got this. I love you. What? And it's like, when you talk about what drive looks like at that point, this woman believes in me. I better daggum step up and do it.
Yep.
Like it's something that, like, is left to my own weak mind sometimes, because we all go through stuff where we have those, I may have days where I don't, but then you get a text like that says, you got it. Well, shoot, I got to show up, don't I? Like, I got to be like, I have to continue to get better because this person over here believes in me.
Yep.
And anyway, I want to digress from there, but that's a huge, I'm glad you said that, Mary. That really resonates in here for sure. Today, you've gone through all the changes, you've been through all this stuff, like, man, what a ride. It's like, gee, what is it that you're doing today? What does business look like? That sort of thing.
Yeah. So I took a real big step back the end of last year, especially, like I said, rocky beginning of the year. Thank God I had a really once in a lifetime flip at the end of last year. So I had made about 80% of my revenue almost in December.
Wow.
Did a new build and made a lot of money on that one, which saved. I always tell people, like, it just helped save where I was at, put some money away, regroup, and got us to kind of, all right, what's important? Sit back down, crunch the numbers. What do we need to focus on? Literally, my right-hand man and I sat down, wrote on a whiteboard, all right, what's fun, what's lucrative, just like started going through things. Like, what do we got to do? Because I was spread too thin. I had shiny object syndrome through the roof. I had a roofing company, a coaching, a this, a that. And I was just like, I did everything half-assed. Like, nothing was being done well. And then I look back and I think, like, I'm doing all these things and producing very little money. This makes no sense. What am I doing? Let's get back to the basics. Hone in, focus on what I'm great at, get rid of all the noise. So that's kind of what we did last year. We shaved a bunch of things off the plate. And now we hyper focus on, I have a real estate team, some rock star agents that work with me. We're on pace to probably do somewhere in the 70, 80 deals this year.
Wow.
So I have a great team. We do still fix and flip right now. We have about 5 in the process of going on right now. I don't want to necessarily have a huge business at that, but it brings in the chunks, those, you got your fast money, your medium money, and your long money. That's my medium money that helps with the fast money. But what we are completely focused on right now and all in on, because it's scalable, it's a need that people have, and it's just something that really excites me, is Synergy Stays. And basically, long story short, we did short-term rental management for a couple of years, and we had a short-term rental management company. And then we realized all of our portfolio, it's about 30-something units, whereas every single property was outperforming the market, just crushing the market. So we took a step back and we said, okay, well, short-term rental management is really 2 different things. It's hospitality and it's revenue side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Hospitality is its own business. The revenue side is the other side. So we just went all in. We're like, you know what? We're really good at the revenue side of things. Let's just do this, because we could do this anywhere in the country. And we honestly have 2 units in Mexico now. So we're international. So
wow.
We could do this anywhere, go in and help someone maximize their revenue potential for their property. So it just gets me excited, because our slogan is build wealth with RCG. That's the name of my parent company.
Mm-hmm.
And then every arm that we have off of that, we can help people build wealth. And this is just one way of building wealth through short-term rentals.
Yeah. Incredible. So I'm going to ask you I haven't asked you like a tough question yet. Like tough question, Dan.
Yes.
Heads up, here it comes. Why you're outperforming the market? We said this pre-show. I've said it on the show many times over. Jesus loves you. You're not special. Okay. Why? What makes you outperform your business outperform the other ones? Because it's not a new concept at this point. There's a lot of companies out there that may look a little bit similar, but how are you outperforming? What are you doing? What makes it special, so to speak?
It's funny. You're absolutely right. And I say that even to potential clients that are coming on. We're not necessarily special. We just put all of our heart and effort and focus on one thing. We focus on driving revenue. We're not getting sidetracked by hospitality side. We're not getting sidetracked by contractors, by the maintenance, by any of that stuff. Like, we literally put our heart and soul into figuring out new tips, tricks, trends, software, automations, continually growing and adapting in an industry. Because it's just like I did before. When I'm doing 8 different things, I'm not doing any of them well. So the reason why I feel like we are one of the best and we are awesome at what we do is because we hyper focus on one thing, and that's what we do. And we have our revenue managers behind the scenes. One's more of an artist and one's more of a scientist. One just strictly looks at a ton of data, and that's how they're informed. The other one's just has so much experience in the industry. He's like the Picasso of the short-term rental world. So I feel like the reason why we're so great is the reason why I always tell everybody, whenever they ask me and a new investor comes to me, what should I do? Should I do this? Should I do that? Whatever the question is, it's like, find out what you enjoy, what you're good at, and then just go 100% all in at that. And you can't not be great if you truly give it all your effort.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And then there's a book, right? And it's kind of The One Thing by Gary Keller, and I hear a lot of that coming out from what you're saying. I'm gonna put you on the spot too. You're putting you on the spot, Dan. Here we go. If you could have one, let's just do one gold nugget that you're like, hey, our Airbnb operators out there that you guys have found that is, hey, this is something that most people are missing. What would that look like? What do you think you would tell somebody?
All right, we'll go one. Let's just start with the listing optimization side. I think a lot of the properties that we take on, it's almost like it's a real estate investor that's fix and flip. They have long-term rentals. They have all this stuff. And then they buy an Airbnb and they kind of treat it the same way. So one of the biggest tips is don't look at your short-term rental when it's come to like optimizing your listing as a real estate listing. Like, I don't care what your kitchen looks like, most likely, unless it's like a chef's paradise and we want to, go there just to solely cook a meal for people. I want to know, what is that revenue generating photo that people are going to book your short-term rental for? Is it a picture of the mountains? Is it the hot tub? Is it the game room? It might even be maybe downtown or something like that, because you're so close to downtown and all the fun things that's going on. So that is one thing, that's the biggest tip. Number two, I'll just continue on the listing optimization side, is make sure the title of your listing makes sense. We're down here in Charleston, South Carolina. The Magnolia House sounds awesome and beautiful. It tells me nothing about what that Airbnb is. No. List it as, mountain house with beautiful view and hot tub. I know that sounds lame, but guess what? If I'm looking for a mountain house with a view and a hot tub, I'm clicking your link right away. Sure. And then other than that is get as many amenities as you can. And that means the smallest things in the world. If you're kid friendly, make sure you have a pack and play and a high chair and like kids toys and lastly, label all of your pictures. So those are all little tips and tricks that are going to help your search of your property maybe go from we've had a lot of people on page 8, 9, 10, 13 go all the way back up to 1 or 2. And just that alone usually pays for like a year of our service of revenue, because now more eyes are on it. And the more eyes on your listing, the better chance you have to book that listing. And then lastly, I'll kind of go one more tip. You have 365 days in a year. If your short-term rental average length of stay is, let's just say it's 3 days, and you want 90% occupancy, you need roughly 100 people to book your Airbnb. You do not need 10,000 people to book your Airbnb or your short-term rental. Right. So if you're trying to book your short-term rental, it's better to cater to a more niche audience that you're going after rather than just general, hey, come book my short-term rental, because you only need those 100 people to book. So why don't you just try to attract those 100 people? Yeah,
that's so good. And I like that what you'd said a couple minutes ago. You have the scientist and you have the artist. The science of what you just said reads really clear. Like there's an and I would imagine you guys have the science of what pictures perform better, what depending, is there something you could kind of regionally, or is it that you have metrics on, or is it something that you're more local? Like, what does that look like for you guys? So I'm in Florida, right? Yep. And you're in Charleston. I love Charleston, by the way. We could really nerd out over that too. But like, hey, Dan, I hired, Synergy Stays to da-da-da-da-da. You guys, does that science that you have spread throughout? Or is it more like, no, it really works better for us in the local areas? What does that look like?
So there is some beta testing, as again, no, like you said, the comment, no one's perfect. No one's unique, or whatever the exact comment phrase that you were saying. But it's kind of the same thing with properties. Even if we have someone in Orlando, and maybe one of them in Orlando, there might be a certain shot that's going to perform better than, because it sleeps 20 versus one that sleeps 2. So there's no exact science. In all honesty, there's a lot of beta testing. So we go based off, the artist in our company knows which ones usually perform better. We'll do some scientific data, but it usually just takes some play a little bit. We might be like, hey, this one.
There. Sure.
Yeah. So this one may work a little better, but you know what? It's performing, but not at the metrics we wanted to. Let's pivot, adjust, and go to
that's
this.
That's perfect. Yeah. That's marketing 101, isn't it?
Yep.
Like you give it it's ready, aim, fire is how I like to say, we want to, but you want to aim, or ready, fire, aim. Sorry.
Yeah, I know you meant.
Ready, fire, aim. You don't want to just fire in the dark, but you've got to get it pointed, and then you can adjust for aim, right? I love that. Yeah, that's so good, man.
That's why we can do it in any market. That's why we can go. We have California, we got Arizona, we got, like I said, down in Florida a lot. We got Alabama. So we're in a lot of different markets. So no one's exactly the same. A cabin house to a 2-bedroom in downtown city, like they're all different. So it's beta testing. It's understanding the market. We take all of the statistical data from our tech stacks, and then we analyze it. And then we also bring in the art, and then you just play. And we tell people, like, it takes a couple months for you to really start seeing traction. And then that 2 to 4 month, you're like, wow, now I'm really seeing.
Yeah, you got to set that expectation up front. I love that. Well, man, I'm looking at the clock. Dadgummit, we are running on that. If people want to reach out and connect with you, Dan, and get to know you better, your business, that sort of thing, what's the best way for that to happen?
Yeah, I think you could follow me Facebook, Instagram at @DanRivers_RCG. You'll see the little check mark, so you'll know it's me, DanRivers_RCG. And if you want to just reach out, shoot me an email. It's dan@danrivers.com.
Dude, incredible. And guys, we'll make sure that gets in the show notes, and so check out Synergy Stays if you guys are into that space. Dude, this is good, man. I appreciate you spending your time with us and going. We went pretty deep on some stuff, man. So thanks for doing that.
I love talking real life, and the human side of things, because I think it's too important. Too many times people don't focus on that, and that's the whole reason why we work hard, right?
That's right. I love that. Well, guys, same to you as well. Thanks so much for spending your time with us, and we will see each of you on the next episode. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.